Hello and welcome to a very special show of Cover Story, where we shall be discussing the Delhi elections. But this time on our panel, we don't have the usual politicians. Instead, we have very concerned citizens of Delhi who are worried about what kind of issues should be raised during the elections, what kind of politicians we should elect. That's what we will be discussing today. I have a very eminent table, a very well choreographed table also. We have Mr. Rahul Singh, author and columnist, and also Mr. Kushwant Singh's son. We have Sohail Seth, who I think needs no introduction, but Sohail, I'll try. Ad man, marketing guru, opinion maker, columnist, and a lot of other things. Pratibha Prahlad, famous Bharatanatyam dancer and also a famous face in Delhi. And Mr. Gurcharan Das, again, we've read him, author, columnist, opinion maker. So I'm going to begin with you, Sohail. What should be the main issues, before we go on to the politicians themselves, three main issues that should be our focus?
I think the three issues that have afflicted Delhi, number one is security. Right. And it's not just security qua women, it's security in principle. Number two, there's a huge issue regarding water. And the third is power, means electricity. So if we can address these three issues with some seriousness, the point is all political parties identify and continue to identify the problems. And electricity has two components to it. One is pricing, the other is availability. Water has again two issues to it, availability and then pricing. Now Modi in one of his rallies said that now that they have a BJP government in Haryana, water sharing will be a reality. But we need concrete plans. All these three put aside, you are also staring at almost the worst polluted city now in the world. So despite CNG, in spite of all the other stuff that has been done, we don't have an action plan on environment. And I think that is equally critical.
Mr. Das, what will...
Well, you know, I think this is not village India. We're talking about one of the most vibrant urban centers. Nor is this, we forget, the old bureaucratic city of constipated bureaucrats. It's a city today of commerce. And what I would like our candidates, Bedi, Kejriwal, to talk about here is how can we use this enviable opportunity to transform this vibrant urban space into a hub, into a what the Asian tigers have done to their cities. What I don't hear from any of the candidates is any sense of a vision about the future. All you hear from Kejriwal, oh, you poor fellow, the same old victim.
He's playing the victim card.
Discussion that, you know, your electricity prices are too high. And what is his answer? Bring down electricity prices. No, and you know, he has no sense that what Delhi actually needs is 24 hours reliable electricity, even if people have to pay more.
Rahul, issues rather than just sellable slogans.
Yeah, now I am in a different position from everybody here. I live partly in Bombay, partly in Delhi. So I think I can compare
Which is the smarter city?
Two cities. Well, I must say that in the last 20 years, Delhi has improved a great deal. Bombay used to be, I still like to call it Bombay. Bombay used to be the premier city, really, till about 20 years ago. And now I think Delhi is slowly taking over. But I'd like to also say that I think Sohail mentioned that air pollution is one of the really major problems facing. And I sense that when I move from Bombay to Delhi and move back, air pollution and women's safety, which is also mentioned. You know, Bombay is a very civilized city as far as working women is concerned. Probably the most civilized city, along with maybe Bangalore, also Chennai. But women don't feel safe in this city. There's too much of this macho Punjabi mentality in Bombay. You don't get that in Delhi, I'm say. In Bombay, you don't get that. In Bombay, a working woman can go home at 11, 12 o'clock at night, totally safe. Here she can't.
You know, sorry, just one second, just to underline what he said, They say that a civilization is measured by the way it treats its women. And you're absolutely right, Rahul. It's, I would say, not Punjabi alone, Haryanvi, who carry their sort of macho-ness on their sleeves. That is part of the problem.
I see Sohail wants to comment, but Pratibha,
well, I tend to agree with all the panelists. I think security is a very major issue, as Sohail said. I think stability is a very major issue also. I mean, post Kejriwal, you don't want to have a government like the government that he ran, for those 49 days. I mean, that worries me a lot. If to think of a government that is so chaotic and so unstable. And I think one of the issues is Delhi is not a fun city, like he said. It's not a fun city. For tourists, for people who come in from other places, from all over the world. It's not even a city where you can, I mean, we'd like to think of it as a heritage city. We'd like to think that we're looking after our, heritage monuments and many other, symbols of heritage that we have carefully and well orchestrated, but it's not. It has become a cultural city only in the last 10 years. It has overtaken Chennai and Bangalore to become the most happening cultural city only in the last 10 years. But we do not have enough cultural spaces.
But I'm sensing a nostalgia for Sheila Dikshit over here. It's last 10 years.
I can tell you, I created the word Bhagidari for her. Then I created a slogan called My Delhi I Care. The whole Bhagidari concept was partnership between RWA's citizens and government. I think, taken off from what Gursharan said, and I have a slight disagreement there. You see, this urban vision all is good when you have uniform citizenry. When you have citizenry at different levels, it doesn't work. Half the time, these jokers in politics are wanting to authorize unauthorized colonies. You have a whole complex issue of Jhuggi Jhopri clusters, the JJ clusters as they are known as. You can't have a situation where you're talking about an urban vision and almost wishing away 62% of Delhi's population. B, Delhi has also been abused because of its NCR status. Yeah. You have people migrating, you have people coming in and out, your borders are porous. Yeah, no, but the issue is that Bombay doesn't have space to grow anymore on the island city, as it were. So it's extending it's going to Thane, New Bombay, Borivali, blah, blah, blah. I think three things will have to happen to Delhi. Number one, we'll have to have an effective 15-year master plan which is then enforced and monitored every year. Sheila Dikshit talked about it, Kejriwal talked about it, Kiran Bedi, hopefully if she's not too busy with the RSS and inviting Kejriwal for Republic Day, will also talk about it. The second, you need to have segregation of infrastructure. It is a tragedy that India's capital doesn't even have a decent auditorium to stage opera. Now you might say, oh, it's too elitist. But it's not elitist. Because on the one hand, you have to cater to your citizens. On the other hand, you have to cater to tourism. Third, look at your hotel infrastructure. Today, a single city like Hong Kong adds more rooms a month than we add in a year. You cannot ignore the urban, just like you can't ignore the Jhuggi Jhopri clusters, just like you can't ignore what I believe is a citizen's right. We are usurping parks. We have created ghettos out of colonies because of security reasons. So now it's a nightmare to get in and out of a colony. We have created issues regarding parking. 14 murders or 14 deaths happened last year because neighbors fought over cars being parked in their so-called designated spaces. I mean, this is all showing a sign of brutish Delhi, which needs to change. Plus, finally, New York Times calls Bangalore the IT capital, but calls us the rape capital. So perception also needs to change.
And perception will change if people are sensitized. Like he said, that the problem with Delhi is it's too porous. You can commit a crime here and then next day disappear, and people can't even find them. And also, I think the attitude. I mean, the police is changing, the city is changing. The last auditorium was built in 1984. City Fort, where President Obama just gave his
which, by the way, has horrid acoustics.
Yes, and
you can't stage a play there.
And the management is, so bureaucratic that they don't even, kind of comply to your requests, the sound light requests that you have. But having said that, I think the attitude of the people of Delhi has to change tremendously, and that can happen if Delhi citizens are more involved in the governance of the city. For example,
I want to take up really partly from what Sohail said. You know, the way our politicians, and this is the problem both with Kejriwal and Bedi right now.
Yeah, should we discuss what Sohail called what jokers
The main issue here is they still think, they think of poverty, they think of povertarian politics. And despite the fact, Sohail, you said that 62% are those 62% are not poor. Then they are, I would consider them actually by other standards of India, middle class. You know,
but
that study.
But 48% is BPL.
And so what I say is that treat the Delhi citizen as a maybe low middle class, but the aspirations are always middle class. And therefore, you talked about this a master plan, and I hope the master plan this time will not be that elitist kind of thinking that we've had about master plans. Intelligent cities, you know, the whole idea of a smart city. Actually, I hope Bedi goes on the coattails of the smart city campaign of Modi.
Will she? She's already on Modi's coattails.
No, there's a bias against high-rise buildings. Why Delhi is not a walkable city?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying.
It's not a walkable city.
You can't cycle, you can't walk.
Because
you can't
we have this bias against high-rise in Delhi. We have this bias that where you work and live should be separate. And you know, to me, Dharavi is the real smart city. That you take inspiration from our slums, because that's where people work and they live.
I hate to say this, the elite of this country will go and buy houses in scenic farms in Delhi, completely unauthorized colony, including some wretched judges. You will then regularize that colony, as you will regularize 200 or 218, however many colonies they regularize. Where is the rule of law? Today, I can construct a small temple or a mosque on the Oberoi flyover and have a high-rise there. No one can stop me.
And now we're also joined by Shivani Wazir Pastreech, who is an actor. She was both small screen and big screen, and also a dancer. You're a law graduate and a former Miss India. Thank you for joining us. Shivani, you know, we were just talking before you came in about can we make Delhi into a smart city? You know, over here the opinion seems to be like Bombay seems to be a smarter city than Delhi. Would you agree? And what can be done in terms of, you know, what are the things that our politicians need to look at?
You know, we have such an esteemed set of people here, and they're also factually there. I know Sohail decides to disagree and always has something fantastic to say.
Right now he's agreeing. Everybody's agreeing with him, rather.
And of course, Mr. Gurcharan Das has written the history of India, so what is the history of a city? I'll just say simply that for me, a city is its people. And if we in Delhi could appreciate Ghalib, and today we don't even appreciate what we stand for. The reason why I've joined you late is because the car that was sent to pick me up, the man said, "जी मैं फंस गया था." I said, "आप निकले कितने बजे थे? 2 घंटे आपने मुझे wait करा दिया. आप निकले कितने बजे थे?" Now, whether it's the common man or it's our politicians, somehow we just think it's okay to say, "Oh, it was just." What is it was just? If you have made a commitment, whether it's something trivial, or it's making a metro, or it's making a road, or it's allowing someone to register their marriage, or it's allowing someone to just live life simply. Recently, there was a crime against a little girl, and her father worked in a certain place. He was arrested and taken away. The other workers had to shell out 7,000 rupees so that they didn't get harassed. Now, those kind of things are not forgivable. So where is that simple old policy of Raghukul Reet Sada Chali Aaye, Pran Jaye par Vachan na jaye. So if our politicians live by that, if we as citizens live by that and say we have targets and we will achieve them because our word means something.
Rahul, what kind of politicians, you know, we have two faces really of these elections, Kiran Bedi and Kejriwal. Yeah. I don't think Ajay Makhan, anybody's taking him seriously. Yeah. Who's better placed to deliver the kind of city that we want?
Delhi's got this advantage of being a state. So one person, elected person, can really make a difference. I think Sheila Dikshit did make a big difference. Okay. In the 15 years that she was in power, she made a big difference to the city. I think now whoever comes into power, I think can make a big difference.
Sure.
So we've got the most likely people being Kiran Bedi and Kejriwal who are there. Now, frankly, I just saw
everybody's shaking their heads over here.
I saw the papers today, and it seems that it's going to be a dead heat as things stand now. But 7 days is a long time in politics, especially Delhi politics. So I think the jury is still out on which party will. I suspect, this is my own feeling, it'll be again a fractured mandate.
Oh, that's what we don't need.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fractured
You mean to
mandate.
say it's going to be
Yeah.
not the jhadu,
I think the
not the
Congress
kamal
will-
ka phool, but a phool jhadu.
Delhi is pure unlucky. Pure unlucky. Arvind Kejriwal is the wrong man in perhaps the right party. Kiran Bedi is the wrong woman in any party. The saving grace is that Kiran Bedi, even if she becomes chief minister, she will have the entire might of the BJP, both at the center and at the state, and that's important. Because security, police, NDMC, large parts of sanitation and water come under the central government as far as Delhi is concerned. Arvind Kejriwal is a maverick. You know, you need stability. Rahul rightly mentioned Sheila Dikshit. What did Sheila bring? She brought sagacity, inclusiveness, and warmth to an office which wasn't that powerful. It didn't have jurisdiction over too many things that could influence Delhi. But she still made those changes.
She was elegant.
I'm elegant, I'm not worried because I'm not looking at her for a sari advertisement. I'm just looking at her as
it's not a
as
sari
an
advertisement,
officer.
even though there are two sari-clad
I think
ladies
what-
here.
Yeah,
The
but I'm
point
just
is that
saying,
you
what
want someone
bothers
who
me-
stands for some
What
commitment.
bothers me is that both of these candidates really do not understand how wealth is created.
That's what he was.
Or
We are,
administrative
yeah. I mean, they talk, even when they talk corruption, they talk about individuals and they do not speak about institutions.
Correct.
Even the Lokpal, you know, is an institutional
And
change.
a forgotten story. Kejriwal himself is not.
But Lokpal, even when it's working, cannot prevent corruption. It happens, Lokpal comes into being when corruption has occurred. So to fight corruption, the kind of thing you said about scenic farms, etc., to fight corruption, you need institutional change.
You need unpopular politics. Delhi has popular politics. The whole regularization, as we both discussed, the fact that you will drop price of electricity, you have to make generating companies and transmission companies viable. They can't be losing money. You know, you have issues with meters. So you've created a situation within the citizen where he doesn't trust the metering of power. Finally, you know, Shivani mentioned, and rightly so, that, you know, we have to change, blah, blah, blah. That's long haul. Your education system in the whole country is in a mess.
Right,
Okay, values have been replaced by valuation. No one asks you what you've studied. Always people will ask you which is your phone or brand or blah, blah, blah. So that's long haul. In the immediate future, 3 things must be guaranteed to Delhi. A stable government,
Definitely.
a government which has the full might of the central government, and a government which is able to deliver small things in the first 6 months, big things in the next 2 years.
But given what we have,
The tragedy is they want to
reality
do the big things which take 4 years, and then people start becoming cynical.
Yeah. Well,
But given the situation that we have, these two faces, who do you think, Pratibha, would be the best?
You know,
Let's talk about the personalities.
I dread Kejriwal coming to power.
You do?
Yeah, I dread it because I happened to go to the secretariat when he was chief minister, you know, the last time round, and there was chaos out there. There were people just running amok, you know, saying that the Aam Aadmi had come to power. There was no order. There was nobody giving you passes. Everyone seemed like there was this complete breakdown of law and decorum and etiquette and everything else. It frightened me. It was like a marketplace.
I get frightened by Kejriwal.
I get frightened by him
because
because,
his
yeah.
mind, because the
So
mind,
anybody frightens you?
the mindset, the
You know, I think
mindset
He's
that
too busy
Kejriwal
frightening
has.
everyone.
Yeah.
He can't be frightened.
I've been talking to people in Delhi, and you'd be surprised, some of the people that I've talked to, and you'd be surprised, most of them, the ones I talked to, they said Ajay Makan would make the
He
best
would be the
chief
best.
minister.
Maybe.
That's
Would he
what,
be
that's
the
what they
best?
say,
He
that
doesn't
he
have-
would,
he's got
out of the
experience
3,
on
he
his
would
side.
make the best
If
chief
the
minister.
BJP had any brains,
Yes.
they should have pushed Ajay Makan and left Kiran Bedi at the Republic Day parade. But typically they post the wrong person, and
yeah.
they will
so
lose
I
the
was
day.
coming to Kiran Bedi. Now,
Right.
Kiran Bedi and Arvind Kejriwal are two faces of the same coin. you know, to a
They were in the
large
same
extent.
party, the
They were
same
in the same
cause.
party. And
Minted by
in fact,
Hazare.
I tweeted the other day, you know, saying that to Mr. Amit Shah, saying that please gag Kiran Bedi and, you know, prevent her from coming in front of the cameras if you want to win this election.
But she's got a horse
Because
throat, so-
the moment she starts talking, you just feel that she's talking down to everybody. Like, you know, she's talking to people, presuming they don't understand what she's saying.
But also on a
But
serious
she
But
doesn't have
but
the...
you know,
But on a very serious note, and there's a serious point, we don't need politicians who only talk about themselves and that we are
Yes.
so clean and we
Yeah.
are the new messiahs.
Absolutely.
We need politicians who say, okay, these are the 4 things that I'm going to do within such and such timeline and hold me to it. We don't have a report card accountability culture in Indian politics. Delhi affords you that because it's a manageable size. As he said, it's a city state. If we don't create these accountability parameters, we will be in a
What I
mess.
find scary about Kejriwal is that his mindset is that of the pre-1991 socialism,
Yeah.
statism, every solution, put them in jail,
But
bring down prices.
But
He
also
is-
tackling bribery,
He's
corruption.
He's Mamata Banerjee with a muffler. He has a problem for every solution.
Mamata Banerjee with a muffler. What would
See,
you say?
what surprises me is that a group of intelligent people, and we are talking about 2 candidates. An office that we're talking about is not about 2 candidates. It's about a whole system. Who's the team? What are the projects? But just like our government, we as a people too are just blinded by 2 candidates. So even those candidates
They
need
are
to
the
be told.
face of
No,
the
but this is
party.
why, no, I agree with it, which is why if you remember in my earlier remarks when Shivani was not there, I said that in one case, the party will kick in.
Yes.
In Kejriwal case, the disaster is both the party and the face are pretty rudderless, either in administrative experience
Yes.
or in stability.
mean, even-
They are not stable guys.
I
see,
didn't
there's
complete
one
what
more
I was
thing.
saying, but I was going to say the same thing coming to Kiran Bedi, that the choice, I mean, if you have to have a choice, you would go with BJP because BJP is a party in power at the center, and that the entire machinery of the, you know, central whatever administration will be behind, you know, Kiran Bedi and advise her and probably direct her into the, you know, into the right course of action. And also they would be very worried to be misgoverning Delhi because that will reflect on their central governance also, and they're
But
and
being
they're
the
going to
kind
go
of
to, you know,
person Kiran
elections.
Bedi is, would you?
But
would she listen
Kejriwal
to
has,
people,
no, it's like a supremo. I mean, he's irreplaceable. I mean,
See,
he
the
is the
thing
one
is-
and only face
See,
of that party.
People
beauty
don't
of what we
realize,
have.
people
scary.
don't
It's about-
realize
yeah,
both
that's a
these
good point.
people are athletes. Arvind Kejriwal ran away from Delhi, Kiran Bedi ran away from Mizoram. They've had a history of running away when the heat is on. So, you know, do you want a government run by athletes, no pun intended, or run by
Incidentally,
people?
Ajay Markan was Minister of
All right.
Sports, huh?
Yeah,
so
but that's
there's
why he's not
he
an
was
athlete.
athletic background there.
third athletic
But having
background.
said that, what really inspires me at the center today is that whatever the history may be, I listen to the Prime Minister and I feel there are very concrete things that he's working on. Number 1. Number
That's
2,
Kiran Bedi's
I
trump
look at
card.
him and I feel that, okay, here's a man who is not interested in feathering his nest because he doesn't care where his nest is. He's too busy seeing the larger picture. Now, I think that's what our candidate for chief ministership has to see. What is the larger picture? How can I sustain Delhi into becoming such a beautiful place that I will come back again and again? And not about how am I going to get the
You're
voter.
absolutely right. And the best thing that today the BJP can do in Delhi is to take those ideas that Modi is providing at the center, whether
Beautiful
it's
ideas.
Swachh
Yes,
Bharat,
of course.
whether it's smart cities,
Beti Padhao,
whether
Beti
it is
Bachao.
make
Is it
in
Beti
India.
Padhao or Beti
That's
Bachao?
the vision. You see, the make in India actually is very relevant to Delhi.
It is.
You know, because
Okay,
Delhi.
we are running out of time, so sorry.
I would say let's not dish Delhi out.
final
We've
word.
shown capabilities. Today, Delhi has the finest airport in India. It's the second best in the world. Capability is there. There needs to be political will, there needs to be moral authority, and there needs to be finally rule of law. You cannot, for political expediency, make the illegal legal and then hope for people to not flout the laws.
Delhi has the
Wait,
finest
final word.
airport. It also has the finest flyovers in which live poor people under those flyovers who have a plastic sheet to cover themselves in this freezing winter where we are sitting with heaters and blankets. So Delhi needs to look under the flyover as well as over the flyover.
It's got
said.
poor public transport.
Terrible.
The public transport is not up to world levels at all.
Absolutely.
It's improved, but it's got poor
Although the
public
metro is-
transport.
So we've beaten the other cities
And,
in the metro.
and there's too much corruption at the lower levels.
corruption.
We have
and
to,
all
as
that.
That's another
a
very
city,
major
be
issue.
proud for every person who comes here must fall in love with Delhi like we are in love with Delhi. And that means they should be offered an infrastructure like we living here might have and be able to enjoy the beauty
You know,
of the
Delhi
city.
enjoys a very enviable geographical position. It can be the bridge between the east and the west, actually, not Istanbul, but Delhi, because Delhi is we're a growing country, we're a happening country, we should be a happening city also. And I think that the government can make it one of the best cities in the world, the best governed cities in the world also. And yeah, there are issues, all these issues can be addressed. There aren't
we get
issues
the
that
right
cannot
people.
be,
Yeah.
provided we have the right administration, the right government, and the right people.
Okay.
I've said negative things about Kejriwal,
So let's
but
end
let
on a
me say
positive
one positive thing, and that is the idea of Mohalla Sabhas is a very
superb.
good one. And it needs to be institutionalized. And Delhi can pioneer this idea for all major cities of India, because governance is at the heart here. And but the reason why it doesn't happen is because the chief ministers are unwilling to devolve power down.
Which is, I think
to
we began
the
by
city.
talking about RWAs and now we're talking about
Exactly.
Mohalla Sabha.
So
The
that's
idea,
really governance is really the.
Can I clap for you?
revolution.
Even though it's Arvind Kejriwal's idea,
Yeah.
but I think the whole idea of people who benefit or
Correct.
suffer the consequences of the decisions taken, they
Yeah.
participate. What better way to have a better city?
and what better note to end? The fact is that this is what we have decided, or suggestions set forth by our panel to make a better Delhi. And I think the prime thing what we are coming out with is more citizens' participation and better governance from our politicians. But that's all for now. Thank you for watching this edition of Cover Story. We'll see you again same time next week.